So guys, I'll admit, I was really expecting the Bulls to get blown out tonight. I even considered having another score prediction giveaway for this game, but I didn't want to do that for a game where the Bulls likely would have lost by more than 20 points. And that's not to say I don't have faith in my team, it's just I knew the Bulls would not have an answer for Joel Embiid, which they really didn't, and I know Ben Simmons was out for the Sixers, but even without him, it didn't take away from the fact that they simply would not have an answer for Joel. And I hate to use the whole term of moral victory because I really hate that phrase, and I think it's way overused, but I'm actually happy with the way the Bulls held their own tonight. There were a lot of not so great things that I saw, and I'll get to those in a little bit, but the fact that the Bulls kept this game close throughout and really brought it to the wire there at the end. And there were some questionable calls that didn't help, of course, but the effort and the hustle was there. And like I've said, since the beginning of the season, I'm okay with the Bulls losing to the best of teams as long as they play with energy and effort for the whole 48 minutes. So what's going on, everyone? You're listening to Bulls Central here. Hope you're all doing well. So first of all, it was good to see the Bulls playing on national TV again, although I will admit nothing beats listening to Adam Amin and Stacey King. In my biased opinion, they're the best broadcasters out there. But to see them on national TV and not get blown out, but rather holding their own and making it a competitive game throughout. So let me start with some of the things I liked seeing from this game. Like I just mentioned, the main one is the hustle, the energy, and the effort throughout the whole game. And what I really liked actually was the defensive intensity. Granted, Embiid still got his. I mean, he had a career high of 50 points tonight. But honestly, sometimes no matter how hard you're playing defense against that guy, there's just nothing you can do. He is a beast, a massive dude who will bully you in the paint and has the footwork that most guys his size would never be able to pull off. Oh, and he also hits jump shots. I mean, I don't want this to be a praise Embiid video because I do get a little annoyed with some of his flopping antics, and there were some offensive fouls that were committed that were called in his favor. So he did get a little help here and there in this game from the guys wearing the black and white, but he is having a phenomenal season. He would be my vote for MVP if the season ended today. The other thing I like seeing was the bench stepping it up and playing some big minutes. I mean, how about Ryan Archie? Did anyone else see that hustle play where he got the steal and the foul on the inbounds play from the Sixers? We were going crazy over there in the Discord chat, which, by the way, you guys should check out if you haven't already. We've got a great group of folks over there, very interactive, and it continues to grow with every passing game, it seems. I'll leave a link to it in the description below. But by Archie, himself, just creating those hustle plays. He's not the most athletic guy. He's not the most talented basketball player. We all know this, but he hustles, night in and night out. And he had himself a nice game tonight. 10 points, 4 assists. Satoransky also had a nice game, 10 points. He was +9 on the night. One of the only other guys that shot decently tonight. And then, of course, Thaddeus Young, the guy who is legitimately starting to make a case for himself to be the 6th man of the year. 12 points on 6 for 9 shooting, 9 rebounds and 3 assists, and he had some key defensive stops at the end of the game. And the other thing I liked seeing was the fact that the Bulls only turned the ball over 11 times tonight, which is pretty good for them considering they're still the worst team in the league in turnovers committed at 15.6 turnovers per game. Oh, and Wendell Carter actually had a nice game tonight as well. Not so much in the second half, he was a little bit quieter there, but he really came out to start the game, firing on all cylinders, hitting shots on Embiid, and also playing decent defense on him as well. Or I guess I should say as well as one can anyway against Joel Embiid. Now, the positives from the game aside, there were a lot of things that did not go so well, namely the shooting from the Bulls tonight. 7 for 32 tonight from 3, 22%. I know the Sixers are a decent perimeter defensive team, but come on now. Even Simmons didn't play tonight to guard the perimeter. That was unacceptable. And really, the shooting across the board, not even just from 3, the Bulls struggled from the field as a whole, missing some layups and shots within 10 feet. They were 42% tonight from the field as a whole. And what was surprising about this was the fact that offense, for the most part, hasn't really been an issue for the Bulls, even on cold shooting nights from 3. They've been able to make up for it in driving to the basket, which has worked well for them here and there. But obviously, when you have someone like Embiid guarding the paint, you're going to have a hard time penetrating to the hoop. And guys, I hate to say it, because I feel like I've been defending the guy for most of the season now, but I'm starting to lose my patience a little bit with Coby White. There's this other YouTuber out there, I'm sure some of you guys probably already know him, Rusty Buckets, and he's actually a Bulls fan as well, but he covers most of the NBA at large. It's a great channel, by the way, you should definitely check it out if you haven't already. But he came out with a video a couple weeks back about how he was done being nice to Coby White, and how he was tired of Bulls fans hyping up this kid like he was going to be a future Hall of Famer. And at the time I was kind of like, yeah, this seems a bit harsh. You know, I definitely get where he's coming from in terms of some of the hype that Bulls fans have placed on Coby. I've even been saying myself that for a while now. I honestly don't understand how some Bulls fans have hyped this kid up like he's going to be a franchise player. But at the same time, I also think that, you know, it's not, you know, really fair for the fans who are on the opposite end of the spectrum, you know, claiming that he needs to be traded ASAP and that he belongs in the G League. Like, no, he's 20 years old, although I think he's 21 now. He's in his second year, and, you know, we got to give him some time. He's just a streaky player. But honestly, I'm getting to that point where I'm kind of starting to wash my hands of Coby White, of being at least the starting point guard for the future for this franchise. He just isn't designed for that role. He did have 5 assists tonight, but he just really has a challenging time running the offense, and gets a little too chaotic when handling the ball. And again, his shooting struggles continue. Shooting 4 for 11 tonight, 1 for 5 from 3. I mean, I'm still going to give him the benefit of the doubt at least through the end of the season, because I do think there is some potential there with Coby, especially based on his work ethic. But I'm starting to think the whole Coby White, you know, at point guard experiment is likely going to need to come to an end at this point, because he was even a better offensive player in terms of his shooting ability when he's not in that type of role where he feels the need to be that floor general but also try to generate offense at the same time. And then, of course, Zach Lavine. Now, I've been seeing a lot of you guys saying in the comments, whether on various videos or in the group chats from past games, that Zach doesn't get called for fouls. And initially I thought, well, it's a bit mixed. Sometimes he does and sometimes he doesn't, just like other players. But after watching some of the late no calls with him driving to the basket in tonight's game, which were critical points for the Bulls, by the way, that they really needed where they're with less than a minute to go, that's when I started to realize, okay, these guys have a point. Like, I just don't understand how the refs choose to ignore some of these pretty obvious fouls on Lavine. And, you know, Lavine is starting to cement himself as a star in this league, and he should be getting those type of calls like all of the other major stars do. I mean, the guy has just been getting pummeled recently when driving to the basket, and the refs choke on the whistle. I don't know. I don't get it. At any rate, Lavine, you know, he had a decent game tonight. I wouldn't say it was one of his best games by any means. He did start out a little slow, and really the issue with Lavine tonight was that he was cold from behind the arc, only shooting 2 for 10 from 3. I would have liked to have seen him switch it up a bit when those type of shots aren't falling and trying to generate offense in other ways, not even just for himself, but for other guys on the floor as well. But he did have 30 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, and a block though. So, you know, you can't really get mad at Lavine because he's still putting up incredible numbers and carrying this team on offense. Another quiet game for Patrick Williams. I would love to see him be a little more aggressive on offense. I mean, I've been saying that for a while now, but especially when the team is struggling to generate offense as a whole, we need to see him put up more than just 5 shots in a game. But I know he's still a rookie. I know he's still learning. Overall, though, like I said, I was pleased to see the Bulls hanging in there in this one tonight. One of the best teams in the league that they played, the best team currently in the East. And despite the areas where they struggled in tonight's game, they hustled and they gave it 100% throughout. And they even had a chance to pull out a win in this one, but it just wasn't in the cards for them down at the end there. And now they're right back at it, heading back home to Chicago to take on the Kings tomorrow, and hopefully a game they can win despite coming off a back-to-back, especially with how much the Kings have been struggling recently. They've actually now lost 5 in a row. I'll be back at it with another live chat for tomorrow's game. Be sure to check out the Discord as well. And as always, guys, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notifications, as you never know when I might just throw out another score prediction giveaway. So make sure you do that. Thanks again for tuning in, guys, and I will catch you in the next one.